I want you to close your eyes for a second and think about the word productivity. Does it give you good feelings or not so good feelings? What impact has COVID-19 had on your ideas about productivity? Let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Leslie and I am a life coach based here in Brisbane, Australia. Now, in today's climate, the idea of whether or not it's okay to not be productive has been a very divisive issue. Even just hearing the word productivity or being told to be productive actually makes a lot of people angry right now. So I want to zoom in on this word, its meaning, how it's being used, and the potential impact of its use in today's context. Here is the Oxford Dictionary's definition of the word. Productive is an adjective form of the verb to produce and the noun productivity. It means 1. Producing large amounts of goods, crops, or other commodities, or 2. Achieving or producing a significant amount or result. When it comes to productivity during the age of COVID-19, I see like a spectrum where on one end you have people saying, during lockdown, you need to become fluent in 3 languages, you need to become super fit, and a master subsistence farmer. And if you're not doing all of these things, then you're just lazy. Then on the other end of the spectrum, you have people saying, we're in a pandemic. Don't even try to be productive because you being productive makes me feel bad. So who's right? Is anyone right? These are 2 very different kinds of messages. And one of the problems with them is that they lack nuance. The way I look at it is that along this spectrum, there are a lot of different categories that you can put people into in terms of their capabilities or their interest in being productive during COVID-19 lockdown season or during any period of extreme stress. In one category, there are people who have lost their jobs, or people who have lost loved ones, or have experienced something else within this pandemic that is making them wake up every day thinking, this is just too hard. I empathize immensely with this feeling. There have been times in my life when I've been in such severe states of depression and anxiety that the thought of doing anything when I felt like I just could not had me trapped in this spiral of guilt and shame. And those feelings fermented in me. They turned into resentment. And I became resentful towards everyone and everything in my life that was telling me to just get up and do something. So every time I thought about being productive, it was like a nail going into my chest repeatedly. I'll give you just one example from my adult life. As you may know, I have had 4 miscarriages, and after that 4th one, I was just about done with everything. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't go near social media. I was having all of these emotions that I didn't understand. I developed a hatred for red nail polish. Why? Think about it next time you use the toilet. When I became pregnant with my daughter, it was a very high-risk pregnancy. I was in and out of the hospital. I was dealing with all sorts of crazy ups and downs. And all of that anxiety and depression from before just came back with a vengeance. When I was 19 weeks pregnant, I had a cerclage placed. And I was so terrified of breaking this thing that I couldn't bring myself to get out of bed unless I absolutely had to. So my day was pretty much wake up, watch Netflix, eat whenever my husband fed me, hose myself down every now and then, and I was still pretty stressed out. And people told me repeatedly, "Leslie, just rest. You don't need to do anything right now. Just do nothing for a while." And I tried that. But you know what that did to me? It made my depression and anxiety much worse. So I contacted my amazing obstetrician, told him what was going on, what I was feeling, and his response, in summary, was, "Leslie, get out of bed." And that's what I did. Not only did I get out of bed, I was taking better care of myself. I started showering a lot more regularly. I started wearing human clothes. And I went back to work. And that process was what finally helped me escape the darkness. I was teaching at a university at the time, so when I was in the office, I sat my ass down and I put my feet up on a desk thing that I had put next to me. And then when I was in the classroom, I sat my ass down and I taught my students with my feet up on a shelf. I'm sure I looked absolutely ridiculous at the time, but it didn't matter. I didn't care about that because I was doing what I needed to do to get shit done. Look, I'm not saying, "Oh, well, if I can do it, anyone can." No, because everyone's context is different. Everyone's struggles are different. What I am saying is some form of that famous quote, "If you're going through hell, keep going." When you are feeling like absolute shit, it helps to ask yourself, just how full is my tank really? Some people are running on fumes right now. If you honestly only have enough energy to binge watch Netflix right now, that is okay. That is understandable. But if you feel like you're slipping into a real emotional, mental crisis, make sure you know who you can call in case of an emergency. The whole world has experienced a massive upheaval, and some people have responded to this change by really taking stock of what's truly important in their lives and dropping the ball in some areas that may not actually take that much of a priority. And useful productivity can manifest itself in those situations as well. Maybe you're not responding to all of your work emails immediately, or cooking gourmet meals every night, but maybe you've discovered a passion for jigsaw puzzles, or meditation. When your lockdown period ends, those kinds of habits, the things that really kind of drive you forward, may be really useful tools for you to take with you into your post-COVID-19 life. And that is a pretty significant result, and thusly fits into the definition of the word productivity. There's another category of person on this spectrum as well, and that is the person who is using this pandemic as an excuse to do nothing except be dissatisfied with their lives. This person may have plenty of fuel in the tank, but they've become so used to making excuses over the years that they're using this pandemic as a convenient place to hide. This is the kind of person who has been stuck in some area of their life for a while, who recognizes that they need to change something, but they're using this pandemic as the ultimate excuse to hit the snooze button yet again. And if you fit this description, we need to talk. But where this kind of attitude can also become really damaging is when the pandemic becomes an excuse to engage in destructive behavior or to neglect important responsibilities in your life. Any period of stress can have some impact on our productivity, but in a lot of people's cases, you may actually have a lot more fuel in your tank than you may realize, or that you may be willing to recognize. So the question of whether it's okay or whether you're allowed to not be productive during really stressful periods doesn't have one perfect answer for everyone, because of course, again, everyone's context is different. So it's really important to take a good, hard, honest look at your situation, your capabilities, the resources that you do have access to, and then own your response to that in terms of whether you feel like things are just too hard or whether you do have some energy to move forward in some area of your life. So, how do you feel about your current level of productivity? Let's talk about it. Leave me a comment on this video, find me on my socials, and if you really want to dive into the details of how you're spending your time during this lockdown period, and you want to come out the other side feeling satisfied with the things you've been doing or not doing, go to my website, leslievcoaching.com, and book in a Zoom call. We can have a chat for free and talk about whether or not we might be a good match to move forward together. Also, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, because that is a good, productive thing to do. Alright, thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next video.